on, everybody? Welcome back to a new, very exciting and special edition of the Viall Files Bachelor Recap Edition. We have a surprise guest. I know I told you all that Jim Jeffries would be recapping with us today. Unfortunately, Jim is under the weather. He will be back next week for the recap, helping us recap. There's going to be a lot to recap since there's 2 episodes. But, and many of you might, no offense to Jim. Jim is wonderful. We love Jim. But many of you have been asking, dare I say, demanding that I have Elyse Myers on this show to recap The Bachelor. And so we've been trying to wait for Elyse to be in town, but the demand was too high and Jim got sick. And so I called the bat phone. I was like, Elyse, do you want to do it? And she was so gracious to fill in. And we are very excited to have you, Elyse. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Starstruck a little bit. Just going to keep myself calm. It's all good.
Likewise. I feel like everyone knows you. I mean, not everyone, but like you're kind of a big deal lately.
That's ridiculous.
On TikTok, on Instagram. You hit 1 million on Instagram. Congratulations. Yeah, well done.
Thank you so much.
Very relatable content. Be sure to follow Elyse if you haven't already. It's great stuff. We're going to have Elyse back when she is in LA for our Going Deeper episodes to learn a little bit more about Elyse and do a mediation call and talk more things. But for now, it's going to be Bachelor.
Yes, this is great. I'm super stoked.
All right. Allie, kick it off. What do we got for the tea? Who are we discussing today?
A very recent tea topic. As we're all watching Love is Blind, Miss Katie Thurston is also watching Love is Blind and commented on a recent post of theirs on Instagram and said, quote, "This photo is everything I needed after that roller coaster of a finale." In the second comment, she added, "Oh, I'm obsessed with this show. Genuine connections without the distractions of made-up drama and field games." Mind games? Field games. Either.
Ooh. Katie. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Elyse? Elyse with an audible ooh.
What do I think about Katie's comment on Love is Blind?
Yeah. Are you watching?
Of course I'm watching. I watched it. We've got it.
Could have had her on for back-to-back.
All of it. I think it's interesting to get Katie's take because obviously she's been a lead and so she understands the behind the scenes of obviously, Bachelor and all of that. So to watch it compared to a show she's watching that's same vein but different style, I think it's interesting to hear her kind of like call out The Bachelor. And I'm like, I just need to know more. I need to know all the things that you're talking about and not saying. I want to know all of it.
Does it sound like she's throwing a little sass at the franchise? I think Katie has some PTSD still, which
I think so
understandable. It's understandable. I think anyone who's been the lead has had some. My reaction is, well, listen, when you make people get married, you don't have it's all the drama you need.
Yeah, you don't need to add anything else. That's pretty dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, and yes, of course, The Bachelor has manufactured drama. Like they're called group dates. You know what I'm saying? Like it's such a radical controlled environment, So like, of course.
Can I ask you what like your most just like in the moment on a group date that you were either a part of or you led? Like what was one of the group dates where you're like, get me out of here? Or like, my brain can't actually handle this amount of drama.
Well, it was the first group date when we were playing the wedding photo shoot dress up and Corinne took her top off. And I felt incredibly uncomfortable in front of all the women.
I think I just combust into flames.
And then they made me dress up as an Adam and Eve as one of them. That was terrible.
Do you still have those photos?
Yeah,
Google does.
Yeah, Google. Yeah, the internet does. Unfortunately.
One second, just Googling really quick. Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, I'm sure Allie is Googling.
I think we should have like a little photo album of those.
You think so?
Oh my gosh. Just relive the memories. Look at them with your girlfriend.
If I'm lucky enough to have kids one day, I am sure I'll get trolled by my children eventually. I've had those thoughts recently about like when I have kids. It's like, what? Am I proud of everything I've done? Like,
Yeah, are you going to bring it up out the gate? Are you going to let them find it out? How are you going to have the talk with them?
It's kind of like what I do with like my dating. Like I don't put any of my Bachelor resume on my Instagram. Like when I met Natalie, like I don't lead with it. Like if it comes up,
Yeah.
it comes up. But if it's like, I've never like just I was on The Bachelor. Like I'll either So
They're gonna know if they know it. They already know it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's nothing that you need to reference to. It's like you're on the friggin' Bachelor.
yeah.
You
But-
were the Bachelor.
Yeah. So I guess I get what Katie's saying, but I feel like she's trying to almost like be like Love is Blind is better because it's more real.
Oh, 100%.
kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I also like listen, I do think I'm really enjoying Love is Blind too. Since we're on the Love is Blind topic, Elyse, and you watched, we are recording another episode when we're done here for a Wednesday episode, and we are interviewing Deep D and Sheena.
Oh,
Do you have any like burning questions you would like me to ask either Dipti or Sheena?
Oh man, I think that if anything, all I would want to say is like to Deep D, like I cried so hard when her mom was like encouraging her, saying like, that's my girl, like that's my brave girl. I literally was weeping, like holding my son.
The best part of the episode was Deep D's mom. And you saw the pride on her face as soon as, oh my God, it was like, it was, without her mom saying anything, you saw her mom just like,
I have chills.
Me too, right now.
Yeah.
It was great. That was my favorite part of the episode.
So if you want to pass it along, to be like, I'm so proud of her, and I'm just so encouraged by her mom's reaction, and that's exactly the way that I want to like be proud of my son. That was a beautiful moment. Yeah. I'm super proud of her.
It was great. All right, Allie, what else we got?
Going into some Clayton's girls drama, they all hung out over the weekend. They went out, clubbing, did a little bottle service after, I'm assuming, Women's Tell All. And Genevieve posted on her Instagram, they bring out bottles and they have like signs with messages. And the sign said F Shanae in big letters.
You can say fuck, Allie.
Okay. Well, it's fine. I'm a pure
She's
soul.
wholesome. She's so wholesome, Nick.
And then Genevieve put it on her story and she said, quote,
she even put an asterisk in
she
her
is
notes.
Professional. This is a professional woman.
So beautiful. Wow.
What a kind soul.
Thanks, guys. I try.
And Genevieve said the best part is we didn't ask for it. They just knew. So clearly whatever bar or club they were at thought it'd be funny and brought it out. But do we feel like she should have posted it?
Well, we did a poll on our Instagram and we asked if it was mean girl shit or if it was okay because it's Shanae. And I think 3/4 it was around 75% thought it was mean girl shit. And I just, what do you think, Elyse?
Oh my God. I need to know from your perspective because I do understand that editing is involved, producing is involved, but there were things that she said that I fully am like, no, you said that. Like those words
100%.
came out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And is she really the person that we're seeing? Because if so, it's horrible.
I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know her. I haven't met her. And I've said this, I think, my guess is she thought she was being funny or trying to be funny. She's probably not a funny person. And I think there are elements to it. Do I think she was gassed up by people around her and people making the show? Sure. Yeah. Is she also responsible for things that came out of her mouth? And you combine that with, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, I think it's a combination of things. Do I think that Shanae is that who she is like on the streets in a group setting? I very much doubt it.
I hope not.
Do you remember? Do you remember Anna Redmond from Matt James' season and that kind of drama she was in? And she was one of the women from Chicago. And she told that very terrible rumor about and it was a really bad look. And I was very hard on Anna, and rightfully so. But I mean, she's on TikTok, and I gotta say, she's funny. She's funny, and it's a different person. You know what I'm saying? And she was contrite and apologetic. She owned that what she did was wrong. But even minus that rumor, it was just like what we saw on the show is just an incredibly different person. So do I think people always watching this show should pump the brakes on defining people's character? Maybe Shanae is terrible. I don't know. But
I hope not. I think that like you do have to have a little bit of grace for those people, especially putting yourself in that situation. Like I would be completely unhinged, I feel like, at a certain point. But there are things that she said that it made my heart so sad, because I knew that like she wasn't thinking about the fact that other people were going to be watching these moments back later. Like I feel like you could kind of get tunnel vision when you're in it and forget that like it's not just you and a camera, it's you and a camera and the entire world watching it back. So I feel bad. But as far as like the girls like doing the thing out with the her name and all of that, it's like, yeah, I mean, it is like mean girl shit a little bit, but at the same time, it kind of seems like she terrorized them a little bit in the house and really kind of ruined their experience a little bit. And so I totally understand it.
I'm surprised with the take.
Really?
Kinda.
You saw how on edge they were. Because I think they felt like with the Elizabeth situation, like it had been truly unprovoked. And so that left them all feeling like at any point it could be me. I have to tiptoe around this person. Like this is like a landmine that could go off at any point in time.
I mean, I guess as someone who has been in this world, I don't see how one person can terrorize a group. It's usually the other way around. And it doesn't mean that Shanae didn't annoy them and piss them off. We've been so hard on Shanae this season, right? And she deserves criticism. I just don't get the whole two wrongs make a right. I don't get the the fuck Shanae, you put it on your social, everyone's having a good laugh about it. And kind of the point is like mental health's been talked about on this season, right? Yeah. Do we know Shanae's mental health? You know what I'm saying? Do we know? Yeah. Maybe she's experienced some trauma of her own. Does it justify her actions? No. But it might explain her behavior. It's just, if you're going to be so upset with Shanae's actions towards you, I just don't think you should do the same thing. Doing the same thing is, I just, if all these women are talking about like women supporting women and we're classy and then they do that. And we quite like Genevieve. I've enjoyed watching her. She seems like a nice person. And I saw that and I was like, ugh. I just felt I felt bad for Genevieve that she stooped to that level.
Yeah, I think it's easy to do that, especially when you're in a big group of people, especially when the whole world saw a different side of Shanae and saw the edited version. It's easy to kind of lean into that. Like she would get a big response from that on social, but I wouldn't do it, but I'm just saying I understand, but I don't, I understand why it was done. I don't think I would do it on my social media.
It was a moment of weakness for sure. And I just thought it was kind of a gross look. And even if Shanae even if there is no edit, even if that is who Shanae is, I just don't see how it makes it fine,
Yeah, I think to your point, though, it's also like, I think we want to live in a world where we can have compassion for people without having the receipts of their trauma. Like we can just kind of give people not necessarily benefit of the doubt, but just like an expansive understanding of like there's context behind every action. And so I think it makes sense being like in these hyperbole settings where it's like, fuck Shanae, or the whole internet's mad. It feels like a very extreme reaction to like a human who's going to be nuanced.
Yeah, there have been characters that I don't even want to, like on JoJo's season, there was a character we all remember, infamous kind of villain. And honestly, the more I learned, the more I got to know, I just felt bad because it seemed like, and again, does it justify his behavior? No. Does it excuse it? No. But like, But
you don't need to go there.
I kind of just wish let him get there. Help. I wish he would. Yeah. And I didn't feel like, going on and beating a really sad situation even worse. I don't know. That's just me. Get the best sleep of your life on a Helix sleep mattress. I know that sounded a bit hyperbolic, but it's true. And I can say that because I sleep wonderfully every night. And it wasn't until I had a Helix sleep mattress, true story, that I thought I need to be in my bed to sleep. Before that, I was like, oh, I can sleep on anything. Only did I realize that I guess I just didn't have, and I thought I had good mattresses back then. It wasn't like I was just sleeping on some shitty stuff, but it wasn't a Helix mattress. I know that much. And every time Natalie and I travel and we come home, it's always just like, oh fuck.
You just like sink in.
It's so good. Whether you are asleep on your back, on your side, on your stomach, Helix Sleep has a mattress for you. You just go to their website, you tell them how you sleep, and they will get you the right mattress for you. Soft, medium, firm mattresses great for cooling you down if you sleep hot, and even a Helix Plus mattress for plus size sleepers. Like I said, you take a quick quiz. I'm a side sleeper myself, and I just absolutely love my Helix mattress. I really do. I can't say enough about it. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/VIALL. That is helixsleep.com/VIALL for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. Peloton. You've heard it. They're doing great things in the wellness and fitness space. And yes, they have amazing bikes. Peloton is helping people meet their fitness goals, and they're doing it in such a fun and competitive way. I think my favorite thing about Peloton is their classes, right? It's world-class with world-class people, and the network of Peloton. So many people are on Peloton, and they got their bikes. They have their other equipment. They have boxing now.
You can also do strength workouts, which my sister asked for a Peloton membership to do strength specifically for her wedding. So there's just like a full variety of workouts.
It's fun to compete with people and challenge you, and like and you compete with someone that like you want to compete with and challenge yourself to like meet those goals, whatever those goals are. More daily workout variety. It's easier to stick with your goals when you keep your workouts interesting. Peloton has a workout for every day and every schedule. De-stress from a long day with 30 minutes of strength and 20 minutes of cardio, or do a quick 15-minute total body class before work. Stay motivated while having fun with bike workouts, yoga, meditation, dance, cardio, and more. That's what's so great about Peloton. You started with the bikes, now they're doing it all. Meet those goals with Peloton. Visit Peloton.com to learn more. That's onepeloton.com. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more. That's ONEPELOTON.com. What else we got, Allie?
Well, both Mara and Sarah posted after they got let go last week. Sarah had a story that said, quote, "Truth always prevails. If you're confused on my ending, hopefully the next few weeks will provide clarity. Don't ever settle for a man who speaks down to you." And Mara posted on Instagram, "I am and always have been outspoken and pride myself on my communication in relationships. I'm not for everyone and I'm okay with that, but at least I know who I am and I love who I am."
I feel like I owe Mara a slight apology because I said she would go off on her Instagram about like, I told you so about Sarah, and she didn't do that. So
it was very long, but it wasn't anti-Sarah.
I was wrong about that.
I don't understand when other people waste their time talking about somebody else. Like for her to be like, Sarah's not ready or whatever. It's like, why? I just don't get it. Like, why would you waste that time? It never ends well for somebody ever. That killed me.
But I think kind of back to what Andrew said a couple weeks ago, that was some real villain shit because you could tell she felt that. That was what Mara felt in her moment of weakness. I think it's this insecurity, right? I empathize with her as someone who, like, I think she truly wants to find someone. I think she truly wonders why she hasn't, and I think it's hard to look in the mirror and see, what could I do differently? It's tough to do. And when you see, when you're surrounded by people like she was surrounded by Sarah, and Sarah's not her cup of tea. It's easy to see flaws in other people before we see it in ourselves, and I think that was just her projecting it. But
yeah, absolutely, it's just hard. It never ends well. Every time I'm like, and it's easy to say that from somebody that's not in it, but I'm screaming from the screen, just like, don't say anybody else's name. Like, just focus on your own time. I felt so bad.
Do we think? Is Sarah? I'm still hoping we get Sarah after the tell-all next week. I'm waiting to find out. But is Sarah referring to when she says don't ever let a man speak down to you? Is she referring to when Clayton accused her of fake crying?
I'm assuming so. Or when he was like, "I don't believe you."
Yeah, she has to be, because it was painful. That was a painfully awkward moment. That was not good for her. What do you think of that moment? Because that made me like literally want to turn the TV off.
Oh yeah, it was. I definitely think she was fake crying.
Yeah.
I said this last week. I think she's the queen of fake crying in this season of a lot of fake criers. I don't think she's the only one taking a moment and being like, now would be a good time for tears. And
is that more common than not, though?
I mean, it happens. It happens every season. And I think it's a combination of they're all, again, emotional and tired. It's an environment that is eliciting emotion. So to fake cry, it's not that hard. But I do think there is an element of you're always being told to just let yourself feel whatever it is you're feeling, Don't hold back whatever it is you're feeling. If you're feeling anger, be angry. If you're feeling sadness, be sad.
Okay.
And so there's, like in life, we tend to be like, I don't want to cry, We hold back because
just swallow the tears.
You just, I don't want to be like at a Wendy's bawling my eyes out, But in Bachelor World, there's no bad place to just let it go.
Meltdown.
I will say though, whenever I see a stranger crying in public, especially on public transit, I respect the shit out of it. I'm always let it out, in solidarity. I could cry too. I think it's very powerful when people.
Do you see a lot of people crying in public? Do you ever go up to them and ask them if you're okay?
Well, if someone's having racking sobs and I'm worried, especially if it's a woman crying alone and I'm is she but I think oftentimes it's someone letting their emotions out and they don't want someone to insert themselves into that experience, I don't
know. I haven't seen a lot of people in public crying, but if I have, I definitely have been is everything okay?
Are you okay? It's really nice.
Is that not a common thing?
I guess what
I would literally run the other direction. I would be I don't want this person to even know I exist in this moment. They're having their moment and they don't want anyone.
Am I doing the wrong thing?
No, but if someone walked up to me, I'd be this is so nice. Oh my gosh, thank you. I for some reason couldn't do it. You're very brave.
I try to give them a tissue because I feel that's a nice way of being hey, I see you. I acknowledge that you're not doing well, but I'm also not going to talk to you if you just want to be alone and sob.
Do you have tissues on you at
always?
All times?
I have so much stuff on me at all times.
An allergy thing?
Wow.
I have a phone charger on me at all times.
Okay.
Are you a mom? Because if you are, that would make sense. You just have a mom purse of all the things.
Yeah, no? Definitely the mom.
She is not a mom. No.
Okay.
Nope. She is.
Wouldn't this be a wild time for her to tell you that she was?
Oh yeah, I have a 4-year-old.
Betty, by the way, you don't know him?
You haven't met Stanley?
Stanley. Oh my gosh.
What else we got, Allie? We got more?
Just the last little situation. Becca, we know Bachelor Live is coming. She did a little podcast episode with all the guys of the live, and they kind of did almost superlative type things. Rodney's really excited for the first impression rose that he gets to give out. Connor will be bringing the ukulele. Ivan is most likely to sneak out of the tour bus. They just had a little fun episode, chit-chatting.
Yeah, no, definitely Connor will bring his ukulele, I am sure. It's right up there with Sal's ukulele. Was that his cringe?
My
did you like that?
Looks like Beyonce. I literally can't stop singing that in my house.
I mean, yes, is he a good singer? Of course. Can he
If someone sang to me that, I'd be we're done.
Again, talking about producers on Love is Blind, do I think Sal liked playing the ukulele? But you know that they were always being you should play a song to her right now. And he was I don't know. He's no, it's romantic. He's you think? And then, you know what I'm saying?
And the roommate's joining in, and then she started crying. But the thing is, she cries every time. So he obviously is this is good. I'm going to keep doing it.
Those were awkward tears, right? Those had to have been.
100%. 100%.
It was a painful.
I can't believe this is happening to me right now. I dated a guy that literally would pull his guitar out and play for an hour. And it just felt like a wall of sound. And you're there's no way for me to interject in this moment. So it's happening to me, at me. That's what it was and it kills me so much. I cannot handle it.
Was he a musician or was he just a hobbyist?
He was a musician and songwriter. And it was you knew it all the time. You knew it.
I couldn't imagine if I had dated a musician and she's I wrote you a song and I want to play it for you.
Now, so the thing is, it's different. So I write music, it's all good. But I don't just be all right, sit down. I'm giving you a private concert for an hour and you can't say a word.
Yeah,
totally different.
If I was any musician and they wrote a song and they wanted to try it on me, of course. But if it was I wrote you a song And
it's like, it's so condescending. It's like I am a gift to you and your earballs. Like you need to just enjoy it. Let it just like wash over your body. It's like, no, dude, like just let me have a conversation with you.
This is really happening to me. Anyways, Connor, if you're interested in that sort of thing, we'll be at
a city near you.
A city near you.
That's about it.
Do we want to get into tell-all spoilers? Not
I didn't think you would.
Much. Yeah, we don't want to spoil.
I wish I could have been there.
All I will say, I did hear, I hear they don't know if it will make the cutting room floor, but Elizabeth went on a tangent that was wildly incoherent.
Like drunk?
No, it was this one. Like, you know how Elizabeth was on her social, like talking about how she's ready for tell-all and she was gonna, have her big moment. Well, it sounds like she's been like thinking about what she was going to say this whole time, and when she got the opportunity, just went on this kind of rant. I don't know if she realizes she biffed it, but it was this kind of this.
That is my nightmare.
She went off on Clayton and said all this wild shit. And the person who told me says they don't know if it's going to make the edit just because it was so bizarre, but they weren't sure. They weren't sure, but
they just have to put the dumb music behind it, like the that makes everything funnier.
Yeah. Anyway, I hear it's a mess though.
I
Those
can't
are
wait.
the best types of tell-alls.
Yeah.
We don't need to be pleasant.
And we will see if obviously I think we're all curious about how Shanae approaches it. Will she come out with any kind of contrition or not? Maybe not.
I heard maybe not.
Maybe not. And if she doesn't, quite honestly, like I think that gives us some more space to. I think it's easier than to criticize her. I think it'd be more fair to criticize her.
Yeah,
because
I think if she comes back and is like a totally different person, like kind of like Crystal's experience, like where she came back and like Coach Crystal, that she was totally different, and like now she's like I'm like, that's not the same person I saw on this show, like that. But if she's like, no, I stand by it, it's like, okay, then we can fairly judge you because we're not seeing this like different edit of you.
I think that would be fair, yeah. Because if you go into that world, you don't know what you're getting into. You get caught up. You realize everyone hates you. You're drinking too much wine. You get a little carried away. You get some bad advice, and all of a sudden you watch it and go, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And then she's had months to be like, okay.
And she's not on social. She's like deleted everything, right? I've tried to find her.
Not sure.
Shanae?
Yeah.
I think she had it before, but it probably got so
just deleted it.
And while I'm sure she definitely didn't get like good advice from, as I like to say, the friends who tell you to buy a boat.
She's on there. She's got an Insta.
Yeah, Shanae.
She could defend herself by saying, listen, I definitely wish I would have handled myself better. I felt ganged up on, and I handled myself really poorly, and I'm embarrassed for the things I said. I stand by how I felt in that environment, but how I reacted and how I handled my feelings were inappropriate and mean and cruel. I was ignorant when I was mocking ADHD. It wasn't my intention. All these things she could eat. She has like 2 months to like have like a parent or a friend be like, hey, like maybe just so like some sort of humility. And if she doesn't, then I think it'd be more fair to criticize.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Is that all we got? Are we getting into the episode?
We're jumping right in.
All right, let's into the hometowns. Overall, like a solid hometowns.
Okay, is it just me or was like all of they were all short? I felt like all of them were so short.
Really? I thought it was honestly kind of a long episode.
Really?
Really? Interesting.
I don't know why. I feel like usually you get, maybe because of COVID and stuff, like they didn't do stuff out as much around people, but it felt like everything was so isolated that almost the dates, like I didn't get to know anything about them. Like, remember when like Becca took, what's his name? They went to his high school, not Connor, the guy that's at everything now. Becca, they went to the high school where like there was like the shooting and then like they had the concert.
Blake.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy who's on everything now.
Literally at everything. Really capitalizing on it. But it just felt like you got to know so much about him as his experience with the guys. And like with these, it's like they went on a hike. And
honestly, you make a good point. I did think about that while watching it, where the daytime versions of the date were far less personal. And, and I'm guessing, and this is just a guess, I still think while we're back traveling and the COVID restrictions have drastically reduced, they're not totally gone. So instead, like, you know, when I on my hometown in Andy season, I took her to a brewery. My friends got to show up. It was like in a crowd. We went to the public market, another crowd, you know, all these things, and very similar to like, you know, other people's dates where you kind of immerse them into your city.
Right.
And I think they didn't get to, my guess is probably COVID, because yes, they were very,
that was my guess.
They were all very kind of random, like
in the woods,
literally in the woods. There's no other people here. We're social distancing like motherfuckers.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think that was it. Let's just go kind of in sequential order. We start with Susie's hometown.
Quote,
I told you.
Today we're going to find out if Clayton likes being choked.
I think we learned a lot about Susie this episode. I told you she's got some fight in her. All of you were all like, I don't know if she's a bachelorette. She might be like too demure for like your classic. Just karate Susie, or maybe
Krav Maga.
Yeah, I guess if you're in the martial arts community, there's probably a huge difference between karate and whatever it is.
Didn't
Susie.
She do
jiu-jitsu?
I thought it was jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it was probably jiu-jitsu. I'm sorry. Jiu-jitsu. Very different.
Because a lot of people came after us last week for not knowing how many kids Ari and Lauren have.
Guys, we suck.
Oh my God.
They had two births. Whatever. We're not investigative reporters here. We're
like this came out in passing.
Like I watched their like vlogs for their twins. Like I'm just in tears. Like when I just like full tears. I'm like, what are you talking about? They have 3 kids. I will say
you left one kid. He'd exist.
It really resonates.
Susie, has anyone talked about how Susie is literally like Hannah Brown's like copy and paste?
Like, I feel like I hate comparing it too much because I feel like I see the similarity, but I don't.
I just feel like when she smiles, I'm like, that's like Hannah Brown's face. Mm-hmm. It's so bizarre to me. My brain can't like wrap its head.
I see the difference.
Incredible.
Have you guys seen the photos of, she used to live in Japan and she worked as a Disney princess at Disneyland Japan.
I did not see that.
Dressed up as various princesses. She is the perfect princess face.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Like she is so sweet.
But I was just like the martial arts. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Because she said she learned that in Japan as well. It would have been at the same time.
And when they dressed up and wore the gis.
Nailed it.
She, I got it right?
I don't know.
I was in Taekwondo as a young child. I made it all the way to a high brown belt. And what I noticed is that like Susie, she was a high blue belt. And the high, like if my memory is correct, the black tape around the belt, there's like 2 levels, at least in Taekwondo, there was 2 levels of each belt. So you got your different colors, and then you test, and then you had to test to be like a high or a low. And if you were a high, you had black tape taped around the end of your belt to like signify. So, but I would liked about it, like clearly, like Susie has, like as soon as we saw Clayton's white belt, I was like, I wonder what Susie comes out in. Is it going to be just another white belt, or is Susie going to be like, no, I want to put on my belt that I've earned. She earned that shit.
Yeah. And what's cool is she was like, I feel like I kind of didn't love my body, or however she said it. She was like, I was insecure about myself for a long time. And then I learned that like my body could literally be used as like a weapon in this, and it made her feel powerful. And I loved that. I feel like we got to know a lot about her just in that like one sentence than we have in a lot of the dates. And I really appreciated that.
I loved it. And when she put Clayton in that chokehold, that was like a legit move. And Clayton being all whatever 200 and how many pounds of pure muscle, like Susie could have killed him.
Yeah,
I'm not even. I'm not exaggerating. If she wanted to, she could have snapped his neck.
Yeah,
he
definitely
tapped out like, oh fuck. Like when you get someone one of those moves, like it doesn't, like weight and size doesn't necessarily matter.
She was ready for it, and she was like, "I'm so sorry," and he's like, "No, it's fine." it was incredible.
Awesome. It was awesome.
And can we talk about her dad? Her dad is the sweetest thing. I'm like, the best response of all the parents. I think.
So interesting. I was going to ask all of you. There were some real all-stars in the families of each family. You had Susie's dad. You had
Gabby's grandpa.
You had Serene's brother. And you had
Rachel's dad was also
Rachel's dad. Oh my God, it was amazing. Rachel's dad was awesome. Like that was an all-star cast.
We got some
between those 4, you give the gold medal to Susie's dad.
I think it's because Susie's dad reminds me a lot of my dad. Like that is a very like Daryl Jones response to like what would have happened if I would have been in that situation. So I saw my dad in it and I was like, okay, that's beautiful. But that's just because of my upbringing.
When Susie was talking to her dad, so like she told Clayton, my dad had some health issues. And it actually, because Jim Jeffries was going to be your guest, it reminded me, like Jim has, if you've seen his stand-up, he has a bit about The Bachelor, and he kind of goes on about the trope of trauma dumping on the show, and how, if you have, if you're Michael A. and your wife dies, then, it's this whole like very like comedic thing. Like, you get the Olympic gold medal, and if you've been cheated on, you're just like, good try. And when Susie was talking about her dad getting sick in kind of this vague way, it made me think of his stand-up. And listen, like on a serious note, like I've been very fortunate. I have both my parents with me, but the past couple of years, my dad had a couple like health scares and he's doing great now. But even if you're lucky enough to have parents who are alive and well, when you have that moment, anytime when you realize your parents' mortality, it's a very like sobering feeling in life, only for yourself, for them. Like you're just like, oh, I'm getting older kind of thing. So it's a real thing. So I don't want to, diminish that. But when Susie was talking to her dad, right? And she was like, so like I was talking to Clayton about the time you got sick, and the look on Susie's dad's face was like,
confusion.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not dying. Like it was almost like Susie had been in this Bachelor bubble of being like, yeah, like, so your dad was sick. So like, maybe, what's that like to like,
will be there when you get married?
Because he's like, yeah, like that is tough.
He's like, oh, I'm going to be there.
He's like, I'm not going anywhere. Like,
I thought that was really interesting. I actually noticed that. And I was like, I wonder if she's told this. She's had to tell the story so many times, obviously, over and over and over again to multiple people. And it's been like just talked about so much in that high emotion environment that when she gets to the person it's actually happening to, I was like, this doesn't feel like the same conversation I expected it to be. And it was just that was really interesting.
It didn't feel organic. Yeah. Because again, I don't doubt that Susie felt these feelings. It would just be like something I don't think in life Susie would have brought this up on a date in the context in which she brought it up to Clayton. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't think she would, that was very much a forced Bachelor moment. And then her bringing up to her dad, like I've never been like, after my dad had a mild health scare, I'd never been like, I was thinking about like having kids
about
and
how
getting
you might
married
die one day.
and so don't
Yeah, that was
a lot. I couldn't imagine my dad being like, the fuck?
What are you talking about? Yeah. Why is this the first thing you're talking to me about when sitting in front of a camera?
Yeah.
It's just like so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Could it have been her dad trying to be kind of very like strong and stoic and like not wanting her to worry at all? Like, do you think he's just someone who's like, I never want my kids to worry about me. I am always going to like downplay anything. So that way.
Sure, anything's possible, but we know how this show works and how they love a trauma dump and how the producers are trained to lean into your sad stories and have an emotional moment, which listen, as we watch, we like you, Elyse, even like you loved a moment, there was a moment we have felt. I mean, like Gabby's dad coming out was both like, at first I had anxiety, cringe anxiety, and I also cried.
I need to know, this is if we're to talk about anything, this is what I need to talk about. I don't understand what was going on. Why couldn't they FaceTime? Why couldn't they talk? Like they were for sure in distance to hear each other. Like what was happening? Like,
right?
Why couldn't they have called each other on the phone? They could have met on Face. Like what was going on?
Well, my guess is they couldn't touch because that makes sense. Social distancing, his girlfriend, unfortunately diagnosed with cancer, immune, obviously compromised, can't risk getting COVID or sick at all. That makes sense, so the social distancing I get. But yes, let's just take it 10 miles further and you're not allowed to say anything to each other.
Yeah, like they could have just like yelled, or they could have like called on the phone. They could have FaceTime. So Clayton could have been there.
They could have had a whole conversation 6 feet apart with Clayton.
Why was Clayton not there? Like and he came out just as like the dad was driving away. And I'm like, what just happened? That was bizarre to me. That was bizarre.
They love they love a good TV moment. Like, the producers on the show, I don't know all of them. There's actually a lot of new people now from my time. But, I don't think when they got into TV, it was all like, I want to work on The Bachelor. Not that they didn't want to work on The Bachelor, but, a lot of them studied film, movies, TVs. And so they're here making a reality TV show.
They still want it to make it.
And so when they have an opportunity, like they do care. Like, every once in a while you get these really kind of great shots of a sunset and a silhouette. And they definitely take pride in that. And I get it, right? They're making TV, right? So it is their art. And so my guess is, here's this unfortunate situation with Gabby's dad. He can't be there because he's got to be very careful. So let's turn it into kind of this Love Actually moment, which again, like, I thought it was like both cringy and ridiculous. And I cried. I cried. I definitely was like, fuck, they got me. Like, I definitely got choked up. So it was like one of those things where it was like I hate this, but also like, fuck.
This is the desired effect. It's happening right now.
It did what they got what they wanted.
That is so funny.
I'd also be almost certain that Clayton met her dad.
Do you think so?
100%.
So he would have been there on the porch.
I'm almost certain that after they got the shot they wanted, the car stopped. He got out of the car. Clayton came out. They said hi, socially distanced, maybe chatted, Like, I met Rachel.
I would hope so.
I met Rachel's dad and had a whole real conversation with him, but like, because he's a federal judge, didn't want to be on camera. He was there the whole time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she mentioned it in her book. It was also like, I think when she was a bachelorette, very similar thing where he got to meet some of the guys, but being a federal judge and feel comfortable, like, being on TV and
interesting.
And so like they definitely, so that I'm all like, I would be shocked if Clayton didn't meet the guy.
Man, you watching the show from your perspective is just so different. I just like, until you're in it, you don't know. How could you? But it's just wild. I wish I could just like be inside your brain and just be like, let me see all the things. Well, not all the things.
I try my best to give this audience as much inside information as possible, even though sometimes they're like, no, I know. I always love the comments where there's like, Nick thinks he knows more about The Bachelor than anyone. And I'm just like, I mean, I don't know if I know more
anyone
about The Bachelor
that's never been on the show.
But like, I have like kind of like
probably you, Bachelor fan 586.
I was like, I don't like everyone. I don't know, but like, I know a lot. Sorry,
because you've been on it 4, 5, 4, 4. 4. Okay, yeah. Then you've been there.
It's not so much the amount of times, but I've been the villain. I've been the hero. I've been every time I was on it from beginning to end. Like, for example, now that we're back to filming and the traveling, it takes typically 8 or 9 weeks, right, to film the show.
Yeah.
By the time they make it to hometowns, that only takes like 4.5, 5 weeks, right? So everyone of the 30 people that make the show, everyone goes home the first 4.5 weeks, and then you still have 3.5 to 4 weeks left of only the final 4. So the final 4 people have almost twice the experience than everyone else. And when you're down in the final 4, you have more like one-on-one time with producers, and it's more like of a chilled atmosphere. And you're just kind of like shooting the breeze about life. And like they'll give you a little bit more insight about behind the scenes. You do more like B-roll. You're doing more contemplations. It gets a lot more emotional. You kind of learn about what's going on just because there's like less people, right? So like the experience of the final 4 is drastically different than the experience of like the other people, just because of less people, more time. And it's almost 40% of the entire time they're filming is the final 4. For example, hometowns is like 8 weeks, right? Because there's usually a day off in between for travel. Like where did Clayton go?
You mean 8 days?
I'm sorry, 8 days. Thank you. Oh, Clayton went to Florida. He went to Virginia, Denver, back to LA for the rose ceremony. There was one more
Virginia, Colorado, Oklahoma, and
Oklahoma,
Florida.
right? Mm-hmm. So, and I don't know if they aired it in order, but like that takes time, right? So when you're not filming your hometown, you're just kind of like chilling. And
are you in the locations that other
it depends.
people are
like for me, my guess is they all flew back to LA because the rose ceremony was in LA this time, and it was on Andy's season. So I flew from Belgium straight to Milwaukee. I had the first hometown. And after my hometown, I had a whole week in LA to just chill. It was a lot of fun. I went to a Dodger game. You get to, if you're into like, before COVID, like if you get to go to like, you can go to amusement parks. You can kind of, they kind of like.
But you don't have your phone, right?
No, you don't have your phone. You're like, you have a chaperone, but you kind of do whatever.
Handler.
They take you, they have a handler and they take you wherever. And I had a fun time. I got to be a tourist in LA, and then while you're doing that, you're kind of talking. You're also like, still like, your mind's focused on falling in love and all these things, and it's a ton of fun. And then fantasy suites again, that takes another almost a week because there's always a day off of saying those. So these things take a lot more time, and that time you're still like in that bubble, obsessing over your feelings, obsessing over your decisions, and it's just a very different experience. And if you've like made it to week 4.
That is crazy. And then to have done that multiple times, it's like, of course, you would have a different perspective than somebody that just is an avid watcher. Because it's like, you're not seeing what's actually happening. You're just seeing the final product, which is a lot of what didn't actually happen. It's just molded and, clayed and pushed into like what people kind of want to be seen.
Yeah, their
story.
Yeah. Anyways, we digress.
Yeah.
Did we have anything else to cover about Susie's?
Susie's, other than like, Susie, Rachel, like what do I think is going to happen? I mean, I was wrong. I really thought, if I had to guess, I think I did guess last week, I thought Serene was going to make the final 3. I thought,
oh, for sure.
I thought they're going to bring Gabby for like, the story about her mom and kind of build up her story, because I still really haven't seen all that much prior to this episode. I didn't see, and even still now, do we see like, I just don't see that much of a connection between Clayton and Gabby.
Well,
I think that she's getting the Bachelorette edit.
Yes.
Personally.
I think she's getting a Bachelorette edit. I still think Susie was always going to be their person. And it still might be their person for Bachelorette.
Susie. Yeah.
And I think they're hedging their bet. But like the producers would have known if Susie or whoever is, is your top choice, they're always asking like, so who, like, where are you leaning? They're always checking in,
Yeah.
So, like if he's just like, if at any point Clayton's like, I think I might pick Susie, they're kind of preparing for, then she can't be our Bachelorette kind of thing, right? So anyways, the only reason I bring that up is because I just think there's Susie and Clayton, it's like Rachel had such that first one-on-one was so like, it's got to be Rachel. But Susie keeps slowly kind of, I think, chipping away at that lead where I'm just not sure who he's going to pick. I don't know.
Well, I felt like when he responded to her when she was like, meet me at the clock tower, and she's like, I'm falling in love with you. And he's like, didn't he say like, I'm falling in love with you too?
He said something. He definitely, I just remember, my lasting memory is just how excited he was knowing how tired he was.
Yeah, that's
true.
And
I just put myself in Clayton's position at that point thinking, if it's not someone I like, it was just like all he probably wants to do is go to bed. And so for him to kind of get that kind of affirmation from Susie,
big deal,
and see that. So I don't remember what he said, but it was very telling, his reaction to me. And then
it was weird then, like when he didn't say to her dad, like, I'm falling in love with her. Like I just feel like he chose the wrong moments to be reserved. It's like, why not take that opportunity to share how you're feeling? Like if that's all you've got.
I agree. I think that's Clayton not knowing what to say and trusting the producers a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And not that the producers are telling him what to say, but like they're definitely like before I hated hometowns. Hometowns suck.
Really?
Just because you're going into these people's homes and as the lead, you recognize you're going to have to lead people on, and you recognize that it's just part of the gig. And it just becomes a lot more personal and real when you're walking into people's homes and you have that kind of respect and you're just like, it crosses a line. It feels a little dirty, to be honest. It feels a little kind of like, especially if you kind of know what direction you're going. Like imagine Clayton, like we know Clayton probably had at least a good sense that Serene was going home that week.
Yeah.
I feel like you could even see that in their interactions.
Yeah.
I felt like you could see him feeling awkward.
And and imagine like sitting down with Serene's brother, who like, what a wonderful man. Just his great voice too. Just such a distinctive, just rich,
Heart of America.
Yeah.
Can we get him on the show?
Oh God, he was awesome.
But
imagine like him saying that and just wanted to be like, if I'm Clayton in that moment, I just want to be like, it's
not her.
I want this to stop. It's not her. Just tell her. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
he can't, and that sucks. It's a shitty situation to be in. We also don't know what aired, too. Like I remember when I was with Vanessa's family and her sister. I was talking with her sister, and her sister was like, getting emotional and kind of giving me the, like, if you hurt her, I'll kill you. I think she actually said that. But it came from like a place of love. And even with her mom and her sister, I was just like, and I remember in this moment thinking, I didn't really care about what was being aired. I didn't know if they even could use it, but I just kind of looked at them and kind of like try to like look them very much in the eye. And I just said, I promise it's going to be okay. And I kind of gave them this look of like,
I can't say
it,
but I'm saying it.
Like,
yeah. So you knew, like, at that point.
Yeah,
like,
I did, but I don't know if Clayton does. But like, I did. So what I'm saying is, we don't know if Clayton maybe even had a moment with his dad that like just didn't fit the edit and didn't like almost kind of gave too much away. We don't know that, and all they had left to work with was just kind of an awkward. Oh, I'm not really supposed to say anything. It's possible, That's a
good take.
Yeah, like if you kind of give stuff away to kind of reassure, when you try to have a human moment with these people, that you realize you're going into their homes and you're just like fucking with them. They haven't seen. I always kind of remind my audience during the week of hometowns.
Like, they haven't seen what's happening.
They haven't seen what's happening. Before each hometowns, you get like a team of producers to show up a day before. You get like boots on the ground, so to speak. And it's kind of, because they have to. Like,
yeah,
they're coming. They have to set it up, lighting, and you're making a TV show. So they ask permission. Hey, can we come into your house? Can we do these things? They'll take them out to dinner the night before, and it's kind of like the family always have a lot of questions. Like, what the fuck's going on? And a lot of it is like, well, you'll have to ask. You will have to wait. But like, there's a lot of like, you should ask this or you should ask that, and like that would be something, And a lot of it is just like because they're trying to make a TV show, and it's very easy to get awkward. And they're trying their best to like keep everyone focused because
make it not seem weird.
Not
so
seem
bizarre.
weird. So it's all well intentioned, from the producers. But and then their kids walk in looking brainwashed, essentially, right? Like every parent's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go on this show, and they come in all just like the parents all see it's like, oh shit, my kid's in love. Fuck.
Yeah, they drink the Kool-Aid.
And
they think they're it. Every person, once they get to hometowns and they're introducing to their family, I know every single person is like, it's got to be me. Like, once you bring that person into your life, into your real life, it's like, this isn't just that world anymore. Like, this is my world now. But I don't know what would be better. Like waiting for hometowns till later, then you really think it's the one, or if it's earlier and then it's like, this is pointless. It's like, I don't know what the right balance would be.
It's impossible. So. Yeah. Anyway, Gabby, I felt a sense of like, and obviously, right, because now we're down to 4, but we got to hear from each of the women. We got to hear a lot more from each of the women.
Yeah.
Just like hometowns, it makes you realize just how little we get to hear from all of them, and just like Susie and Gabby, just like kind of these long kind of ITMs. They're less sound bites and more kind of stream of consciousness thoughts. And I don't know, Gabby definitely, I can't tell if Gabby's always playing a character or if she's just kind of this very unique personality.
I can't tell. It seems like their relationship is really lighthearted and like friendshiply, but I can't tell if that's like, if things are being edited out or if she's kind of being aired to just be like the depth is there, not from her. Like, I'm not saying she's not a deep person. It's just their connection seems a lot more lighthearted than like compared to Susie's or compared to, I don't know, Serene's. I'm not sure.
Totally. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't tell if because like clearly Gabby's funny. She knows she's funny. Clayton thinks she's the funniest woman in the world. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Elyse, because you're pretty funny.
Oh, thank you. I haven't seen that side of her. I just don't feel like we've seen a
goofy,
lot of what.
But anyway.
Yeah, she's goofy.
But yeah. I can't tell, like when she was hanging out with Clayton, I can't tell. Because you know when you know you're funny and like you go walk into a room, people kind of expect you to entertain them. And I can't tell if Gabby's just being herself or if she's like leaning into, you know what I'm saying? Like, or if she's like, this is me being goofy all the time.
Yeah, I can't tell. I honestly can't tell. But I think that they have a good connection. I just think that it's more like silly and lighthearted.
But is that like enough? Like, can you really like create a marriage out of that?
I definitely don't think Clayton's picking Gabby.
I just mean in general. Like,
no. And I think sometimes when you, in that world, when you don't feel that connection, you kind of lean into the other things that you have. It's like a real life version of like the friend zone of, let's just play games, you know? Like we don't need to make out. Let's just play games. I don't care about it, you know? So there's a little bit of that, I think.
I think too, I mean, why not keep people around that make you feel safe and like fun, you know? Like if you have to keep people around up until the end, like you might as well also keep people close that you're like, I'm just gonna have like enjoy myself around you.
100%. Like hanging out with Gabby is probably a breath of fresh air for Clayton. She probably doesn't make him feel pressured or wrong for feeling like, because there are certain people where you might not be feeling it and they're trying to get more out of you, right? And you're just like, it's time to go because you're, you know, it's like how on this show, like every time someone's like, I'm falling in love with you or I love you, and they like go, oh, you know, Serene, finally ready to say I'm not falling in love with you. I'm in love with you. It's the kiss of death if that person doesn't feel the same.
100%.
You know? And
it's so rough. You can see it on their face too. You like watch them process the fact that it's like, I don't want to say that back right now. It's like, oh, it just kills me.
Yeah.
Especially after meeting the family, like it just brings back like the Colton with Beck, all that. I'm like, oh my gosh, all of it. It's so sad.
But we love Gabby's grandpa.
Oh my
One of the
Grandpa John
was speaking to whether Gabby's always like this. When Gabby's grandfather's like, she's always been a dingbat.
I called her a dingbat. I literally wrote that down. I was like, he called her a dingbat.
What is the modern term for dingbat? Because I feel like dingbat might have been like something commonly used back in the day. I don't know. Oh no, dingbat. That's great.
I think dingbat's perfect. It really encompasses the vision.
It was amazing.
If Gabby's grandpa ever wanted to find love again, I'm available.
You're into it?
Oh my gosh, the wedding ring. The fact that she's like, why do you wear your wedding ring?
I am obsessed.
I was proud
with
to be married.
Man.
Oh my god.
No, it was great.
And shout out to him for giving them the teaser for the Hometowns episode.
Oh, yeah.
Like his sarcasm.
Oh,
He was really carrying the teaser on his back.
Yeah. Well, another just a cautionary tale. Let's just be careful the power of the edit, you know? Like, well, they sure made it seem like Gabby's grandpa was going to lean into Clayton, you know? And it turns out he was just joshing him.
Joshing. He's the sweetest. Oh my gosh, Grandpa John. We love him.
We love him.
I feel like Clayton might be an old man trapped in a younger man's body, because when he was talking to Susie's dad, he was like, well, these other boys must have been dumb as a box of rocks. And I was like,
dumb as a box of rocks.
You are 20-something years old.
With all of his turtlenecks, he is an old man in a young man's body.
Do you think that's what happens? Like, because he knows he can't swear kind of thing. Do you like revert back to kind of like corny sayings?
I don't feel like he is like a swearing person.
Maybe not.
No?
Also,
I don't know.
You know what I thought was weird? Clayton loves to yell. When Gabby was like, hey, scare me like if a bear came out of the woods, and Clayton just like as loud as he could, and like
he's just like he's got it in his back pocket all the time.
He's like, wait, I get to be a Viking? I get to scare the shit out of someone. Like if a girl asked me to do that, I'd be like, you know, like I wouldn't try to literally scare her. And Clayton's like, oh my god, this is so much fun.
He's just so funny. I like don't understand him. I feel like he's more like a blank slate for production, and that's like that. And I wish I could get to know more of who he was, because I feel so confused watching him and his personality.
Yeah, I think you speak for America when you say that we still don't know much about
who he is.
Other than he's terribly afraid of heights. That was awesome.
Yeah, I guess.
I thought that was amazing. It was like, I don't consider myself afraid of heights, although like I don't like love heights. I can psych myself out, but he was truly terrified.
Do you want to know my theory behind that?
What?
He actually wasn't that afraid, but he knew he was going to be sending Serene home. So he like just tried to have something to talk about. So he just kind of acted more like afraid than he was. Yeah.
Interesting take. And
because if you're going to break up with someone, you're like, I don't know what else I'm going to say. So you just think something's overly funny or like overly scary. And you're like, well, I'll have more to talk about if I just focus on that.
That would be a really charming thing if that was, if that's true. Do we like Clayton for that? That would be a very sweet and endearing thing.
Maybe.
No.
Or he could just tell the truth and be like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not going to meet your family before.
No, well, that's not really his call.
It's interesting to think about, like, whether it'd be ruder to be like, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling this. I'm not going to meet your family after like they've had the dinner with the producers. They've gotten them all amped up for this, or whether that's like the better thing to do. So that way you're not leaving people on a moment longer than you have to be.
Well, if Clayton,
I know that's like not really
free reign, I think it would be kinder to cut short. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
but I don't know if that's possible.
It's not, yeah. It's like breaking up in real life. You know, like sometimes being a little more cold in the moment is the kinder thing to do, even though it's just like, yeah, but we made it this far. It's just like, but like, you know, like breaking up before the holidays is definitely better than breaking up after the holidays and pretending to like share another Christmas with someone. I know you're going to have to give that person a shitty holiday, but like, what, you're just going to like fake, like, you know, all of a sudden like January 2nd rolls around and be like, yeah, sorry, we should break up.
I've been wanting to do this for a long time. It's like, no, you just lied to me over Christmas.
Yeah,
like,
you bring them in, you know, you fly them in to meet your family and they stay with your family and your mom gives them a present and like a photo album or something of some shit of like.
Painful. It's so painful.
That'd be terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Amanda's not sure if she agrees.
I'm just trying to think. Well, I think in that scenario, maybe the kindest time to do it is like that week between Christmas and New Year's. That way. Well, because I'm just thinking about like, and I get it. I think it sucks to be let on. It would be terrible to like be disingenuous or to feel like someone was disingenuous and going through the motions all Christmas. But it also would kind of suck to have to talk about a breakup to all of your family.
Yeah, like, where is he? Where is she?
I mean, again, being broken up with right before the holidays is terrible. Like, I'm not saying there's like, that's an awesome thing. And that person you're dumping is going to have a shitty holiday. And if Clayton broke up with Serene, like as soon as he like landed before he met her family, like that would really suck for Serene to not have that moment with her family. Nevertheless, what happens when you break up with someone? You're always kind of like relive moments and you go back in your head about like, but they said this to me and we did this. And like, what did this mean? But this must have not meant anything, or they used me, or all those things that like make it harder to get over someone. And imagine like having Christmas plans and being like, hey, we're going to get on a plane to meet your significant other's family and you stay with him and like you are living in that community and like they give you gifts and then like January 2nd, it's like, yeah, sorry, I was feeling. So when did you know? Like, well, you know.
December 20th.
What? What? But what about the casserole you made for my family?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's painful.
Yeah, it's a shitty situation either way. But the question is, what is better for the person being broken up with in the long run?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if my theory is true, so it's probably not. But that's just what I saw when they were doing the heights thing. I was like, maybe he knows, and he's just like really clinging onto the nerves and is acting more nervous.
And you know what the justification always is for the show and the producers, and there's an argument to be made, and that's why to this day, even though I was incredibly mad at Caitlin for bringing me to the altar, so to speak, for lack of a better term, was to this day I now thank her for that moment. Right?
Wow.
She gave me this opportunity to like really have what I still like if I had to rank my moments on the show, like it was my most honest and vulnerable and sincere moment. And I don't I don't go back and watch it all that much, but like when I have seen it a couple of times, there's a sense of like I handled myself really well, and like that was like it was a good moment. And so back to Serene's hometown, that moment she had with her brother of like getting emotional and him like expressing that type of care and love to Serene, that is a moment those two will share for the rest of their lives. And maybe a moment that they may never have had Clayton not brought her to hometowns and gone through the motions of leading her family on, so to speak. And so there is an interesting argument to be said of like, the producers definitely operate with that mindset of
we're facilitating these moments.
We're really fucking with you right now, but you might appreciate differently down the road. And for a lot of us, it's very true.
Interesting. I mean, that is one way to take it. That's one hot take.
It's a question. I mean, I'd be curious if I ever get a chance to ask Serene if you knew Clayton knew he was going to send you home before he even got off that plane. Would you wanted him to meet your family and go through the motions so that you would have that moment with your brother, or would you rather him just not? And I'd be willing to bet she would be glad it went down the way it did.
Really? I mean, she was stone cold, like on the way out. She like, you could tell walls immediately up. I don't know. Like, I felt that would be me leaving. If I left, I mean, maybe I say that and it's not true. I don't think I would cry. I think I would be like, you're not getting another thing from me. Like, I feel like that's really what I would feel like.
I literally, and I've joked with Caitlin, I wanted to push her in the pool. Like there was a pool I was like, how could you do this to me? I was embarrassed and hurt and just
that was rough.
Beside myself of like, I asked you not to do this. I begged you behind closed doors. And like, instead, behind closed doors, she's like, I love you. You know, like I was like, oh my God, I was filled with like so much just hurt and anger. But like, as time passed, I'm grateful. I truly am.
I cannot believe that happened. I forgot how like deeply sad that moment was.
It's a lesson in kind of time and perspective. So I don't know if Serene feels that now, you know, and I certainly don't think she felt it in that moment. That's for sure. Like when Clayton was breaking up with her, but I wonder down the line after watching it, like for example, I wonder if she feels that way now watching it back with her brother.
Yeah.
You know,
and watching the moment her brother had with Clayton too, like realizing how strong she is and how much she's grown, and the fact that she opened up to Clayton so quickly after like the stuff with her cousin. And I'm like, it's beautiful that he can kind of see the strength in his sister, probably more than he's given her credit for as well. So I do think that was a cool moment.
Yeah, and then we'll kind of like segue into Rachel's hometown with her dad too. Like is her dad like from the mafia? I don't like. No,
dude. That's intense to get his like seal handshake and like arm of approval thing. That was intense.
I loved like her dad had maybe Rachel and her dad have cried together before. Also, maybe not. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
that was intense. And the fact that she knew him so well to be like, this is literally what you're going to get if he approves of you. And he did it like perfectly. Like that was crazy to me.
This is not a guy who is leading with his emotions and feelings often, and to have that sit down with his daughter, Rachel, and we don't know what's going to happen with Rachel, but like, I'm pretty sure either Susie or Rachel are going to be devastated by this. In fact, I think if there's going to be, what I hear is we always hear how it's going to be it's going to be a real ugly ending. And there's going to be some real
I'm confused as to
people.
where they're teasing it. Like the way that they've teased the ending of like I'm in love with all three and I've like been intimate with all three, all of that. I'm like, really confused because they've cut it so many different ways now. And now they've like stopped teasing that completely. I'm like, what is going on?
I don't know. I hear it's going to be a mess.
I cannot wait.
Shall we do some predictions based on what we think could happen? Elyse?
I personally think, okay, this is my thing. I think Rachel's going to go home next. It's going to be between Susie and Gabby.
Really?
Yeah. And then I think it's going to be Susie gets picked and Gabby is the bachelorette. That's what I think. But I think it's going to be before he goes and like kicks Rachel off. He's going to say, I have said I love you to all three of you, and I have been intimate with all three of you. The reason why he chooses to share that, I have no clue. That's obviously what's assumed. If you're not okay with that, you shouldn't be on the show. But I just think it's really bizarre that like it's been teased that he says that and then like loses his mind. I think something goes wrong. Like maybe someone's not like here for the right reasons, but then he like, have you seen the clips where he's like walking away and he's like, I can't believe she's telling this. And it's like, I'm devastated. Yeah. Like something has to happen more than just them not responding well to him having sex with 3 women. Like,
I get the whole, like, you know what you signed up for type of thing. But once you get on that level, like it's easy to say, you know what you signed up for when you're going on group dates and it's all kind of silliness and you're doing naked, you know, obstacle courses. But when you're down to the final 3 and you're being reminded every day that it ends in an engagement, you start thinking about life outside of the bubble and you start thinking about like, you stop being like, okay, I know what I signed up for. You start like thinking about your life, right? So anytime we've had a bachelor or a lead like look like they're beside themselves about leaving is usually because like someone they really like either left on their own or quit or threatened to leave or things like that, right? So, I mean, and if Clayton tells one of the tells all of them, hey, I hooked up with all of you, maybe one of or maybe more than one of the women doesn't handle it.
What if all of them leave?
Maybe all of them leave. Like,
well, I've heard that it's a very non-conventional ending that's never like existed. So I'm like, it's probably that all of them leave.
Could be that, right? So, but you think Gabby has surpassed Rachel?
Yeah. Huh. I don't know why. I feel like Rachel's like the development of her as a person on this show has stopped. I don't think that's really what was happening in real life, but I think that the information that like editors and all of that have chosen to like give us about the contestants, like it's just stopped with Rachel. I don't know any more about her now than I did before.
You're right. And that's an interesting point, but I would guess that has more to do with Rachel had such a head start and they're trying to play catch up all
slow it down.
All while giving Gabby a potential Bachelorette edit. That's
interesting. See, I would never have thought that. I'm like, I see more as a viewer because I don't know that background. So that does make a lot of sense. Because their date was like it's her. Like it's obviously her.
But who knows? I mean, like we never would have thought Justin would have been top 2. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
I just think because he gave Rachel the last rose. And so that to me was like, he was more confident and maybe order. It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
I'm more shocked that they chose to air it that way because I thought they took the
Gabby or Serene suspense.
Yeah, because I honestly going into this week, I was like, who's going to go home, Gabby or Serene? I never imagined it would be Rachel or Susie. So just as a viewer, I was like, oh, well, I guess Serene's going home.
See, I thought it was between Rachel and Serene. Because interesting.
They can air that out of order pretty easily.
Yeah.
But I will say, Susie getting the first rose wasn't edited because that's harder to edit. And Sean and Josh both got the first rose on the week of hometowns, and they both won.
But what about when...
I don't know if that matters.
When Rachel's dad was like, what are you going to do if you hurt her? Like, the reality of the situation is that you're going to hurt some women. Like, how are you going to handle that? And I thought that was kind of Clayton's version of the, like, I'm not going to hurt her,
that's
wink, wink. So that's why I still think Rachel's, like, the front runner.
I still think
like, I just picture...
Maybe I've just read it so wrong. Maybe I'm reading it wrong.
I mean, if you made me pick, I'm going to say Rachel's a front runner, but to me, it's just like 1A, 1B with him and Susie. And when we had Clayton, he kind of earnestly and sincerely, when we were like, what do you have any regrets? He's like falling in love with 2 women. He said 2, I believe, but I think he truly actually fell in love with 2 people, where that doesn't usually happen. They might like 2 people. You might be confused towards the end, but like, I don't know if people actually fall in love with 2 people. And I
don't know how you'd stop it though. Like, how do you not, if you really feel that way?
Yeah. So I think he's really torn, which will play a role into how this all goes down. Elyse, we know you have to go. This has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for
It's
joining
been so
us.
fun.
Come back when you are in town. We'd love to have you. Your kind of recaps of your own on TikTok and Instagram I don't know, they remind me of when on Becca Kufrin season when me, Dean, and Jared did our Bachelor what did we call it? We called it
anyways, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Chiller, the Bad Chiller.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes.
We weren't allowed to say the Bachelor, so we called it the Bad Chiller. But very funny stuff, Elyse. I love it.
Thank you.
So be sure to follow her, and you will, if you're a Bachelor fan who likes recaps, you will love Elise's content. I'm sure many of you
just like humor. I would say this woman's just plain funny.
Oh yeah, the Bachelor stuff is some of her. That's just like low hanging fruit for her. Most of it is just really good, relatable, kind of fun stuff. So be sure to check out all the stuff Elyse is doing.
Thank you so much. It was so fun to hang out with you guys.
Likewise. That was all the fun was on this end. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, all that fun stuff. Tomorrow, Deepti and Shayna are with us. A lot of burning questions that people are dying to know. A lot of Love is Blind conversations tomorrow with her going deeper. Plus our mediation call. You won't want to miss that. Be sure to tune in. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey guys, thanks for watching, but before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos, like our Mondays Ask Nick, especially if you're looking for some relationship stories and relationship advice, as well as our Wednesday interviews with your favorite celebrities and experts. See you next time.